everyone, and welcome to the Waterloo Library Historical Society. We're glad to have all of you here. We're especially glad to have Phyllis here and to be honoring her tonight, so thank you for coming. And we have other distinguished guests behind us, and we'll be introducing them a little bit later. But right now, we'd like to take a moment to recognize the past recipients of the Wells Award that might be here. I know we've got Jim somewhere. I can't see everybody.
Here he is. He's right here.
Jim is here. I know Jane is here and representing Vern. She's up there. Welcome. And we've got Laurel and Ed here that have been recipients. And we've got this is Brun somewhere. Representing your husband tonight. And did I get everybody? I think everybody that's received has been here. So welcome to our visitors and to our former recipients. We're glad to have you here. The annual Wells Award ceremony places a high honor upon the individuals who have etched their way in the history of the great community, just as Henry C. Wells had done nearly a century and a half ago. The recipients of this award serve as inspiration to our community now and for many years to come. At this time, I would like to introduce Cindy Park-Shields. She is our executive director, and she will be presenting the award tonight.
Woo!
Thank you, Corinne, and thank you everybody for coming tonight. This has been a long time coming. So as I said, my name is Cindy Park-Shields, and I'm the executive director of the Library Historical Society. We've worked really hard. If you've been here before, you know that this is usually a very hot night, and it's a little bit cooler up here tonight because we've got the AC going, so it's super exciting.
Yay.
So next, probably by next year when you come in, there'll even be new seats, and I'll do a selfless plug. There's 10 seats left if you want to sponsor a seat. So those will be filled up and they'll be even more comfortable, got a little more leg room. So we will be having those for you next year, and this will be a wonderful space to hold your events and a future Wells Award. I'm very honored to be able to present Phyllis with the Henry C. Wells Award tonight. I remember when her name was presented to the board meeting in 2020. It was a resounding yes. Her dedication to the community, her church, and the society was a prime example of the person deserving of this award. I can't begin to tell you the number of photos and memories we have found here that Phyllis had a part in. She was often dressed in period clothing or her signature red and white and blue scarf, giving tours and imparting her love of history on many tours, both young and older. I don't say old, it's only older. My mom corrects me. You can see how teaching was a lifelong passion of hers. She also helped with our museum and archive collections and volunteered for many other society events. Phyllis is a retired teacher who is now an active member of a number of state and local retired associations. She is a member of the St. Paul's Episcopal Church and has been director of the Altar Guild for decades. That kind of love and enthusiasm only comes from someone who truly cares about her community. She has also been a part of the Cursillo Weekend, the women's group, and the adult social club, as well as using her teaching skills again at Vacation Bible School. As if that was not enough, she has also been a pivotal in the continuation of the Real Christmas in downtown Waterloo and worked to award the community angels, including some family members of those in attendance tonight. Phyllis has also been a volunteer and a member of the Taylor Brown Hospital Auxiliary, Seneca County Relay for Life, and notably the American Legion Auxiliary. I know there is so much more that Phyllis has helped, volunteered with, or just cared for in Waterloo. Her warm spirit and caring for her community shows whenever I see her. Thank you, Phyllis, for all you have done and continue to do for Waterloo.
Woo!
So this is the plaque she will be presented with. We also have a marble stone that when this theater is finished is going to be hung on the wall. And her name will be forever part of that, part of our society. So The Henry C. Wells Award is presented to Phyllis Dunlap. This award is bestowed upon that citizen of Waterloo, New York, who embodies the character and commitment of the founder of Memorial Day, Henry C. Wells, toward the betterment of our community, from the Waterloo Library Historical Society, dated 2020. Because that's when we had it made. We'll be presenting that formally with her in just a minute. First, I would like to invite Alexis here, representing Assemblyman Gallahan.
Good evening, everyone. As you can probably tell by the lack of a shiny bald head, I'm not Assemblyman Jeff Gallahan. I do have the pleasure of working for him. He does send his regrets. He was very much planning on attending tonight until about an hour ago when I got a call from the Assemblyman that he was unfortunately taking his wife to the hospital, and she has a broken leg. She's getting fit for a cast right now. So he says he will be back to come see Phyllis. He will be back in Waterloo. He'll be here actually this weekend and on Monday for all the festivities. But his wife might be back at home or walking around with a cast. But I did want to come and congratulate Phyllis. We have a proclamation here from the State Assembly. It's quite large. I won't read the whole thing, but I will tell a small story about how clearly Phyllis has touched many people's lives. And one of those people's lives is the editor for the State Assembly. So when we get these proclamations done, she stumbled upon this one, and it was one of the ones that she was editing. And she says, I know Phyllis. She was my kindergarten teacher. She said that you might not remember her, but Marcy Belty was a proud student of yours, and is now presenting misspellings, though. That might be on your list. But I want to read a small part of it. I won't read the whole thing. But whereas a retired primary school teacher from the Waterloo Central School District, Phyllis Dunlap is known for her efforts to improve her community, where she is actively involved with many projects and organizations. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that I, Assemblyman Jeff Gallahan, along with the citizens of the 131st Assembly District, offer congratulations and thanks to the 2020 Henry C. Wells Award recipient, Phyllis Dunlap.
Yay!
We're going to come down to Phyllis so she can be presented formally with these.
Look this way, look this way, look this way. Thank you.
Would you like to say anything?
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Well deserved.
Very well. This is very well deserved. Thank you for everything. One more, Phyllis. We got a big one. This is a big one. Okay, now the next one, turn that way.
Look this way. Don't forget us.
You deserve it.
It's a great pleasure to, I've been involved in a few things with Phyllis gave my daughter one of the youth ministering angel things that you did one year, and so she's very active and we appreciate everything she did. She's an amazing woman. At this time, we're going to turn the time over. We're going to go with, I believe, President Roosevelt first. He's going to give us a little talk to Phyllis and everybody else here. So if you could turn.
Yes.
Once again, I am delighted to be here in Waterloo, New York. What a wonderful place, a great place. I have no doubt that when others who are not so blessed to be Americans as we are think of the United States, they think of Waterloo, New York, or some similar place, because there are similar places like this all over, and we are the better for it. I have often spoke of families, individuals, volunteerism when I have been here before and in other places. And it's right to do so. You know, this wonderful building was built by talented individuals. But they're individuals who came together as a family and worked to build something that's a treasure, not just for them, but for years to come. It's thanks to them that we grow and we look to the future. It's a family of good people, solid people, people who want to do right by themselves and their fellow citizens. Oh, there are all sorts of families. There's a family of businessmen, and there's a family of farmers, for example, or a family of churches. Why, as president, I found out that there's even a family of nations. And they're much like any other individual families. You know, there's the wise father who's very experienced, seen a lot, done a lot. We call him Great Britain. He's willing to hand some money or some fortune to a lesser relative, provided that he sees that it's well spent and well used. He has advice to offer. And normally you can go to him with a sad story, but it won't do you any good. He's still kind of a stern father. That's Great Britain. And then in the family you have, kind of the showy older sister. She likes good food, good wine. She likes to be the life at every party. She likes gossip, good at gossip. She expects to have her own way in everything. We call her France. And of course, she has a younger sister, somewhat old beyond her years, never quite rose to the level of competence and fame and fortune that others in the family have done so. But she doesn't mind retelling or telling everybody, reminding them that one time she was a great beauty also and bowed to by suitors on all hands. But that isn't the way it is anymore. We call her Spain. And then, of course, there's your older cousin. He comes to the table. He drinks too much. He talks too loud. He's quite obnoxious in what he says and do. He tells you what a great person he has been and what a great person he will be. And everybody's awfully glad to see him leave, only to find out that when he left, he stole the silverware. We call him Russia. These are, this is a family of nations. But the best family is your family and my family. They're sometimes frustrating, sometimes irritating, but in truth, we look back on it and we kind of wouldn't trade them for anything. All the fun and the memories that came with it, the living of life that the individual gives to a family, to a community. I believe that a man has a duty as he grows older and matures, becomes a husband. He has a duty to provide for his family. to see that his wife is well cared for and taken care of, that his children are healthy and educated, and that they're brought up as in a good and responsible way as possibly can be done. I believe this is the duty of every man to a certain extent. And I do believe it is a man's duty that in time of danger, that he rises to the defense of his family and his country. I believe that it is a woman's duty to bear the children, rear the children in a way that makes them responsible for the future generations that become Americans. I believe that it's through her care, a mother's self-sacrifice, that she gets an honored place in heaven, if not in her children's eyes also. I believe this is the role that every woman should aspire to. Now, there are times and instances where an individual man or an individual woman just doesn't fit into that role for some reason or other. Maybe their talents don't lie as husband, wife, father, and mother. Maybe their talents lie as an architect or a farmer. Maybe her talents lie as a nurse or a teacher. But wherever they lie, it is that individual's responsibility to give to the community in some way or manner. Not only provide a family atmosphere so that the children are protected and loved, but also that those children become responsible citizens for every community and nation that they live in. I believe it is the duty of all our citizens to be ready when the time comes to answer the call, whether it be a volunteer at Waterloo, New York, to make sure this wonderful festival keeps going, or a volunteer to answer in the call of our nation's defense, or perhaps just to see that maybe our senior citizens are given a hand and love, and they're not lonely and lost or frightened. Whatever it is, we can do it. We're Americans. We are a great race of people. We see things that only others dream about. And we are headed for the stars. Our century is not done by a long shot, because we have people who have energy and they think big and dream big right here in Waterloo. And I trust that it will always be so. So I thank you very much for this short time.
Thank you, President Rosa. We'll now hear from President Abraham Lincoln, our 16th president.
Well, I think that I would do well to recall the... You ignore it. More than necessary. I dispense pardons regularly anyway, so if you do need one, see me afterwards. I think it would be well for me to bear in mind the old ladies dance, short and sweet. So shall my remarks be. You know, we live in momentous days, my friends. The nation has seen fearful days. I recall when I was president-elect, there was a growing crisis all around. In nearly every conversation, fear manifested itself. And I, for one, believed, I found out that I was wrong, but I believed that the crisis was a false crisis, such a one as could be got up at any time by designing politicians. Nothing like a good crisis to make political hay. I found out that it was indeed more of a crisis than I thought, and I don't believe anyone actually expected for it to turn into a war. But war or any crisis, whether it's real or got up by designing politicians, can quickly change the temper of our times. Sincerity is questioned. Motives on all sides are assailed. Everyone becomes an expert in their opinion and dubious of all else. Deception seems to be everywhere. It breeds, thrives. Confidence begins to wane. Indeed, public confidence has died in the present crisis. Even private confidence seems to be waning on many fronts. And we find in the midst of our situation, universal suspicion reigns. Old thoughts, old familiar ways are forced into new channels, and we find confusion on every side. But in the midst of such times as we live in, there are people like Phyllis Dunlap who continue to go to the church and dress the altar, who continue to do the things that they have always done. In fact, some have, as our times have become new, have also done new things that they have never done before, have risen with the new times to the occasion, as Ms. Dunlap has done by her continuance and her perseverance. And I have often found in days of great discouragement that it is individuals such as this who bring a heartening to me. I recall on more than one occasion having no idea what to do, feeling that all hope was lost, and deciding that I would go and visit the soldiers. The soldiers are the ones who bear the greatest burden in the present crisis. And when I see their continuing determination in the face of what has caused others to quail and withdraw, I find great confidence welling up within me. You know, many people have decried the policies of the administration, have objected to some of the measures that have been necessarily taken. And I recall, years before I ever dreamed I would be in my present fix, seeing momentous changes in public policy that seemed to forebode a great evil. And I remembered very often that public policy is one thing, but it's the people themselves who are the rightful masters of their congresses and their courts. And there's no proclamation, there's no judicial decision, there's no legislative enactment that will long be sustained unless it is supported by the people. It's public opinion in the end which counts. And whoever shapes public opinion is the one who in this country holds the power. And so we look to individuals like Ms. Dunlap to inspire the people of this city and other individuals throughout the country who have done heroic things, who have simply continued to do the ordinary things in spite of the crisis all around them, and have inspired others, such as myself, to continue on. There have been days when I did not wish to wake up, but I did anyway. And when I rose, I heard not only the cessation of cannon for a time, but as even before the sun had made its grand and glorious and regular appearance, I heard the birds singing as though there was no war, as though there was no crisis, as though the world had an eternal tone that would go on forever, long after the present crisis is over. And I took heart in the regular, the ordinary ongoingness of the sparrow of a people like Miss Dunlap, the heroes that we find hidden away. The Bible says, honor to whom honor is due. And I'm glad that we can bring honor to you for continuing on. While others have been fearful and have not gone to their duties and have stayed in their homes for fear that they would not live another day, you apparently did not. Thank you.
Now we'll be honored to hear from Ms. Harriet Tubman.
I love teachers. I love educators. Today I cried. I cried when I heard about them children. I cried because I love the little children. And I know not just yourself, but all the teachers in this place feel the same way as I do. I came up like a neglected weed. Didn't know nothing about liberty. Ain't never heard about no liberty in my family. But blessed be the God, I heard that there was a God who looked over little children and held them close in his bosom. Some of them, well, he sends out angels like Miss Dunlap. Yes, sir. Your little child remembers you after all of these years. Can you imagine that? How old is that child? You know, how old is she? 30, 40, 50? How old is she? I'm just asking. That's all right. That's all right. But imagine the imprint this mother made on that child's life, like a mother duck, a mother hen. I favored education. The abolitionists sent from New York, Pennsylvania, New England, and anywhere else they came down there to a place called Paris Island and Port Royal, South Carolina. And they tried to teach them children. I was one of them child. But every time they tried to teach me letters, the words just kept twirling round and round in my head. So I said, if only the children can learn. You know that most of the people that came to them schools was people just like you, the adults. They all wanted to learn how to read and write because they knew that it was power in the pen. When a teacher teaches that child how to wield the hammer in the form of a pen or a pencil, they got power. Rest of their life, ain't nobody can take it away from them. Later on, I hear somebody say, why you can never get enough learning. I know some of you still going to college now. That's a good thing. And if you ever think you don't need it, I hear the man said you just take it, put it in the suitcase, close the suitcase, and tote it with you. That's right. One of them great men of learning said that. You never get enough learning. On that account, it was, well, my great nephew, James Bowling. About 1852, I helped his father. That was Linus' children. Lina was sent down the river, but these was her children. These were the children of her children. That was John Bowley's baby. Well, I took James where James took me, and we earned money, a place called Georgetown, South Carolina. That's where our schools was. 3 schools. You people right here, Seneca Falls, Auburn, and parts north, south, east, and west supported. So those children could go to school, learn how to read and write. What if a man became a representative of the state of South Carolina? That was John Bowling. That's right. But his grandson was a fine young man. All I have to say is that continue to support children and support teachers, because they are still the backbone of America. Ms. Dunlap, we all thank you for being here today. Never did learn how to read and write. That don't take my heart away from the children who ain't gonna never live long enough to sign their name. But for those you taught to sign their name, God bless you, because Jesus loves little children.
Thank you for that, Phyllis. We're really grateful for you for serving our community and for serving the children all these years. And it's an honor that we were able to give this to you for our first 20, 21, and 22, 2021 and 22 recipient. So nobody else can say that they've had it for 3 years. So we want to thank you so much for all that you've done for the community. And we invite everybody to come back downstairs and socialize if you'd like, or to stand up here and visit, whatever you'd like. But thank you, Phyllis. We appreciate all that you've done for us.